Definitely just let the pendulum swing. You're going to have good days and you're going to have bad days. And eventually that's going to turn into good weeks, good months, bad months. No matter how much time it takes when you're just kind of on that little lull, it's like, ah, man, I'm having a bad week. I'm having a bad month. It always comes back and it's going to just be that much better.
What is going on? Welcome back to Jiu-Jitsu Outlet. I'm sitting down with a black belt in Jiu-Jitsu, one of the most active members in our Facebook group, Mr. Troy Moutsatsos. What is up, man? How are you?
Doing great, man. Awesome. And it's a pleasure to be here.
Dude, it's great to have you, man. Well, we connected through the power of social media thanks to one of our BJJ brothers, Mark Zuckerberg.
Yep.
He brought us together through the power of his Facebook machine. And we've been hanging out in the Jiu-Jitsu is My Outlet Facebook group. And you've been one of the most active people in the group. So thanks for doing that, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. The page is awesome. I love it. And there's a huge community out there that it's awesome.
It's a lot of fun, man. It's crazy how many people care about mental health and jiu-jitsu and all that stuff together. And I'd love to ask you the question that we start off every show with, which is, how do you feel jiu-jitsu has helped your mental health since you started?
It's been amazing. It's helped my mental health so much, keep everything on track, create so much clarity when things get a little bit rough. It's just a fantastic outlet to escape from the real world problems for a little while.
How do you feel like it helps you to kind of slip into that state, you know, like where you can kind of, I guess, not exist in the real world? Like, is that something that you experience?
Oh, all the time. It's awesome. It's just, there's so much activity going on when you're grappling and learning that you don't have time to think about other things that are going on outside the academy or outside the dojo, whatever people like to call their own spot. It's that state of almost like a Zen state when you're on the mats.
Yeah, 100%. It's like, it's so crazy because it puts you right in that mindfulness. I think that's what Zen really is. It's like just being mindful of what you're doing in that moment. And it's like, you have to for martial arts or else you're just going to get heel hooked or something.
Yeah, if you're not in the present moment, you're definitely going to get heel hooked.
100%. I should put that on a shirt. Dude, well, how do you feel like jiu-jitsu helps your life off the mats, like other aspects of your health or other parts of your life?
It's helped so many things, like the ability to just overcome obstacles, that mental fortitude when you're overcoming adversity and everything. It translates so well into just regular day life. You learn so much of it when you're, what I referenced it to in my black belt speech was like, when I got diagnosed with cancer, I was like, you're going to accept the suck of it, but you just got to keep fighting or else you're going to be stuck there. It's like being on the bottom of a mountain with someone who's bigger and better than you. It sucks because they're bigger, they're stronger, they're better. But if you just whine and complain, you're going to be stuck there for the rest of your training session. Accept the fact that it sucks and just, stay calm, get some frames in, start working your way out. It's going to take a little bit of effort. It's going to take some time, but just work your way out and you're going to be okay.
Man, let's talk about that a little bit. Like, what was that like when you got diagnosed with cancer, and how do you feel like jiu-jitsu kind of helped you to, I guess, get out of that state?
It was definitely rough because, everybody thinks they're invincible at certain points in their life, right? I'm a young guy. I'm healthy. I'm like, okay, I've heard of other people having other types of cancers and everything, but you never think it's going to happen to yourself until one day, like, oh man, something doesn't feel right. And you go get checked up by your doctor and it's like, yeah, man, you got cancer. It's like, holy crap, it rocks you to your core. But, having my jiu-jitsu community here, like, it's like family. They're there, to support me the whole time. Like, yeah, you got this. Like, you're going to be okay. Everything's good. And even just after surgery, coming back and just hanging out on the side of the mats was awesome. It just let me escape from the fact that, like, holy crap, like, I got cancer. This is crazy, because I was just away from that real world situation for a little bit of time and just focused on what people were doing when I was watching people spar. I'm like, oh man, there's like a perfect backside 50-50 setup over there. Just get to escape from that real world was awesome. So it definitely helped push me through by being around the community, being around that atmosphere of just family. It was
I feel like that doesn't get talked about enough. It's like that's one of the main benefits I hear people talking about on this show is the community angle. Can you dive into that a little bit more? Like, how long do you feel like it took before you really felt close with the people that you were training with?
Man, for me, it was like immediate. As soon as I stepped on the mats, it was just a connection right away. So I know for some people, yeah, like for some people, it's a couple weeks, maybe a couple months, just depending on how frequently they're training. But I'm on the mats, Monday to Sunday kind of deal. And I'm here all day long, just having a blast. And when people walk in and they're like, "Hey, man, like good to see you," I love to actually hear about their day and check up on them, make sure that everything's good. But I'm just a personable guy as well. But that community, it's awesome because some people don't get that at their workplace. It's just a 9 to 5 office job. They're sitting in front of a computer all day. The real human connection is either at home or it's on the mats. So like you gotta take some time and actually talk to people about their day and check up on them.
Yeah, 100%. People don't get they don't get that a lot in our society, like you're kind of alluding to, and it's crazy because we have all these tight knit communities and we have all these cities where people are living together like closer than they ever have, and people are working together closer than they ever have. Well, I mean, a lot of folks are transitioning online, but
Yeah.
for the most part, our people historically have been working like closely together, and I feel like now we have a lot of separation in the community. I think in large part because of the internet and all these screens and all this technology that is supposed to be connecting us more together, but it actually creates all these opportunities for you to go do other stuff. And I feel like martial arts like jiu-jitsu can really kind of combat that. What do you feel about jiu-jitsu makes it like so easy to kind of make friends and build that community? Because I feel like there's something about jiu-jitsu beyond other hobbies. I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, man. Like the time in the like we're at a time in our lives and in our world really that we're all so close, but we're all so far. Just to, with all the technology and all the horrible things that are happening all the time. But like you said, jujitsu is just that it's like that middleman that's pulling everything back together. And I find that especially because everybody's there for one common goal, and that's just to better themselves in one way or another, whether it's to lose weight, to just get healthy, make some friends, whatever it is, everybody's there to just become a better person for themselves. And while doing so, they just start learning awesome stuff. They get those friends along the way. They start losing that weight, whatever the case is. And in the end, they're all just bettering themselves.
Yeah, it's like everyone's kind of on the same wavelength there. You
Yeah.
don't really have a whole lot of negative people or anything like that. And that's awesome. It's like a breeding ground for good people in a way. In a way, I mean, there are some assholes in jiu-jitsu, but they're few and far between from what I've
Yeah.
seen.
Yeah, it's true.
They get weaned out most of the time.
Yeah.
But dude, well, how long have you been training for so far?
For a little over 16 years now.
16 years, dude. That's amazing. You're a badass.
Oh,
That's
thanks, man.
awesome. So let's say there's someone listening to this and they're maybe a bit newer in their journey, like they're a white belt or maybe even they're a new blue belt or something like that. What advice would you give that person as they're kind of like getting started in their journey?
It's a really good question. Definitely just let the pendulum swing. You're going to have good days and you're going to have bad days. And eventually that's going to turn into good weeks, good months, bad months. But no matter how much time it takes when you're just kind of on that little lull, it's like, ah, man, I'm having a bad week. I'm having a bad month. It always comes back and it's going to just be that much better. Like I've gone through, it still happens to this day. I'm like, okay, I'm rolling around. I'm on the bottom all the time or I'm getting tapped. And it's totally fine. It's all part of the learning process because you're just collecting data. Like you got to be in bad positions. You got to get swept. You got to get subbed in order to collect data so that it doesn't happen as frequently in the future. It's all part of the learning process. The pendulum's always going to swing back and you're going to have great weeks. You're going to have great months. You're going to do awesome. You're going to start hitting those subs that you've been working on, getting the sweeps that you've been working on or the takedowns. You're going to feel like $1,000,000.
Yeah, it takes so much time. I think people underestimate the amount of mat time and reps that it really takes because you have to drill it and like learn something, just like learn how to do it. But then you also then have to learn how to do it against a moving opponent who's resisting. And those are kind of two different things. And I think people don't realize that. It's like bike riding, for example. You have to learn how to ride the bike and then you can learn how to like maybe go off a ramp or something. But people see like a cool trick on a ramp and they're like, oh, I want to do that. And it's like, well, yeah, but you got to learn how to like balance on the bike first. And that's the boring part that people don't want to do, but it's really important. Jiu-jitsu is the same.
Oh yeah.
Dude, love it. What sorts of things do you see like at your academy, at the beginners that you work with and stuff like that? What sorts of pitfalls do you think that they're getting into that maybe could be avoided? Like if they had a different outlook or a different way of viewing things?
So that's another really good question. I think just not getting bored with the foundation. That everybody gets caught up in like the Instagram reels, the Facebook reels, YouTube. Like that's totally fine, but you've got to make sure that you've built that rock solid concrete foundation before you start building on that and building your skyscraper of jiu-jitsu. Like you can't just go and build a skyscraper on sand. It's going to just completely fall apart. Like just stick to those foundations, those fundamental techniques, really solidify those, and then go ahead and start building from there. It'll definitely keep people away from getting too like a little too crazy or end up quitting too early.
Yeah, 100%, man. It's like if you have a business or something, I think the same is true. Like you have to always go back to the fundamentals of whatever it is you're doing. And I think that will help you kind of achieve that mastery that people are looking for. Have you heard of a guy named Alex Ramosi?
Yeah.
He's got a really good YouTube channel and he talks a lot about business and entrepreneurship. And there's a quote from him that I really like. And he said, a master is never not doing the basics. And I think about that a lot in terms of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, it's very true.
So true. A lot of times when I lose, I'll look back on the footage and I'll be like, man, I just messed up those key fundamentals. Like this match that I had this last weekend, I got heel hooked in like 45 seconds, which is what I'm supposed to do to people. But apparently that's not the case always. And watching the footage, I was like, oh man, I just messed up like some super key fundamentals and was able to get elevated. And I got too excited. And I've been doing this for 14 years now, and I'm still making these mistakes. So you're right, man. Like if you just kind of pay attention to those fundamentals, they carry you a long way. And a lot of times when you lose, you end up realizing it's because you neglected said fundamentals. Crazy how that works.
Yeah, very true.
Dude, I love it. So tell us a little bit about like, what are you thinking about these days in terms of your jiu-jitsu and what goals do you have for the future?
Man, my goals, that's a good one. I got a bunch of stuff going on, but honestly, just for jiu-jitsu itself is just like to be on the mats for as long as I possibly can till I'm like 80 years old. Just be healthy, be in good shape, keep spreading the knowledge and have people enjoy it, teach them awesome things, and really just keep up with the evolution of it. Because it's like the evolution is just so rapid now, especially with the access that people have on the internet, getting a hold of instructionals and kind of tweaking it to be their own style or their own technique, coming out with their own instructionals. Just keep up with that. Like personally, I'm working on a life coaching course right now just to get certified in that and then just start helping people outside of the academy in a whole different way. There's this great joy that you get from helping people on the mats achieve great things, either promotions or getting those techniques down, whatever the case is. And that light goes off in their head. You see the joy on their face, an awesome feeling, but then being able to help people outside of that transition back into regular day life, succeeding in whatever they're working on. That's long-term goals.
Dude, that's awesome. Well, let's talk a little bit more about that. Like, how do you feel like life coaching might be able to help people? And I guess for people who've never heard of it before, could you kind of explain like your view on it and what exactly is it there to achieve?
Yeah. So the easiest way I can describe it, it's definitely not like therapy that a lot of people get confused with. It's more just like you have some clutter in your brain. You don't know which direction to go first, but you know you want to get to whatever your objective is. Let's say it's somebody who wants to lose like 200 pounds. Easiest thing I could think of. It's just decluttering all their thought processes so that they can now focus on one specific goal, start setting mini goals, and then start to achieve that. It's an easy way to help people reach those goals, whether it is in business and just regular day life, even people who are now transitioning out of being in therapy to start paying attention to their regular day life again now that they're emotionally and mentally in a better position.